Chapter 28. I'll have you for this, all of you, Dmitri thundered, staggering around the keep, using one of the girls as a shield. Giving Router a welcome slap on the back, Burlo gestured over to Dmitri, waiting for the jetpack to shut down before he cared to elaborate. He don't seem to realize the situation, he offered as the noise dampened, enjoying the wry smile that lit Router's face. Breathing in the rare scent of blood and mud in fresh morning air, Router took a moment to soak it up. Victory. They'd heard much of Petrov's troublesome brother, and Dmitri didn't disappoint. Even the looks on his men's faces from where they sat captive suggested they preferred their current situation. Something tells me this ain't a first. His smile widened, turning his attention to Dmitri. It's over, mate. Your boys surrendered. I'm surrounded by weakness, Dmitri spat, glaring at his men. You're hiding behind a skirt, calling them weak? Reuter's face shone with amusement, where he turned to address those held captive. You become like those you follow. I'm glad we arrived before that happened. Reuter spun on his heel to face Dmitri. I suggest you put her down before Burlo here gets upset. I don't intend on dying, Dmitri growled, pressing the knife to her throat, drawing blood. From 30 foot across the yard, Burlo's knife thudded just below Dmitri's elbow, severing his flexors and sending his knife clattering to the floor. My arm, he shrieked. Look what you've done to my arm. Reuter gave a curt nod. Seen him do that from 3 times the distance. You're lucky we need you alive. He gestured for medics to see to the wound before turning his attention to equipment and supplies that had been flown in. I'll have you for this, Reuter. Mark my words. Asterisk. Where you want her, Cam cut in, having marched Dmitri's wife up to Router, who eyed her bruises. Med Bay, then put her with the others. From across the yard, Curly jogged up to object. Boss, you should know that. But he stopped having caught Mia's wide-eyed plea to stay quiet. Just that I'm heading that way. He shrugged. I can take her over. As they strode toward Med Bay, Curly spoke softly. I could have explained, he offered, eyeing the bruises that tarnished her otherwise flawless complexion. Told him you were the mole. If my husband suspects, if anyone suspects what I did, Curly caught the flash of fear in her eyes. Dmitri's not going anywhere. He's done. He can't hurt you anymore. He is currency, as am I. Petrov holds your men. Her gaze flicked back to Router. He will let us go. Exchange us. Curly caught her arm. You don't have to go back. Router wouldn't force you. With a sympathetic smile, she retrieved her arm. He has my children. Curly walked the rest of the way in silence before reluctantly handing her over to be processed along with the other hostages at Medbay. Asterisk. By lunch, Router and his team had secured the port and most of the castle grounds. He took the opportunity to ring through and check on the others now back in the Netherlands. VR immersed him in Medbay as though there in person, seeing Millie, Lilabe, Schwartz, and Malau still resting. JK, on the other hand, sat propped up, wide awake, eagerly waiting for the chance to find out what was happening back at Dover. They still out, Reuter chuckled, warmth in his wry smile. You should be resting too. Some of us don't need no beauty sleep. JK smiled before ushering Reuter on with his update, knowing he could be called away at any moment. Having caught up with what was happening on the ground, Reuter moved on to their plans for Dmitri. He's a nasty piece of work. JK didn't bother to hide his disgust, and Router's slow nod seemed to agree. He'll get what's coming to him, he assured. Just not this time. You can't be serious. They're letting him go? Petrov's a smart man. He wants to trade, Nomi and Cosmo, for Dmitri and his wife. Hobbs is on board, and for once, I agree. Though clearly troubled by the idea, JK gave a thoughtful nod as Geek buzzed through, and Router merged the call, VR overlay blanketing projections as Geek flashed up with Hobbs hovering in the background. Other teams have managed to demolish key Volkov European weapons factories and transport links across Europe. Our coordinated attack was a success. Europe is ours. Hobbs strode into focus. Bringing you in for debrief. I'll head back in a few days, Reuter insisted, watching Hobbs's fist clench. VR debrief then. Won't take long. Tomorrow, Reuter agreed with a curt nod. I've a few things to round up first. Dmitri's to be kept alive. Agreed, Reuter rang off. Having left JK with strict instructions to get some much-needed beauty sleep, Reuter made his way back outside, rattling through orders to seal up tunnels and arrange repairs to the perimeter wall before consulting Geek about security improvements to the Iron Dome. Asterisk. Meanwhile, in the rec room, Burlow and some others were lugging through supplies that drones had delivered for their new base. An ORIF, open reduction internal fixation. Horder rattled on as they began to unload supply crates, gesturing to his knee. Sounds like a euphemism, Maestro grinned. A pin in my leg, dumbass. So you finally got screwed? Horder chuckled. You're showing your age, mate, with all them dad jokes. It's an art form, really. Thinks he's a regular Van Gogh. Horder jest, turning to the rest of the lads. Nah, I'm all ears. Maestro smiled sweetly, sitting for what felt like a long overdue break. Give us a hand with this, lad. Quattro waved over one of the men who'd worked under Dimitri. What you go by? Kubi, the lad uttered, a little unsure as his gaze fell to the weapons lying about. Never used 'em, have you? Quatter smiled at the lad's stare. Never learnt how to fight either, huh? The kid's gait and arm said about as much. You want to? He chuckled at the eager look in the kid's eye. Give me a hand then. Rest of 'em can't drink and work. Ain't Cornish like me. Asterisk. Back inside the keep on the upper floors, Router sat staring at the mixed reality projection of Hobbs and the rest of the boys at HQ, having given them an update. As they drew to a close, Hobbs looked markedly more settled. What about new recruits? Not a bad selection. Take about a year to train up, though. Any particular talent? Time will tell. Several have potential. There's one that would do well with AMJ. He admitted reluctantly as Hobbs laughed. Mentoring was not in AMJ's vocabulary, and he proved incredibly creative in avoiding it. I haven't broached it with him yet. Timing's everything.